Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to a talk called Size Matters. Let's talk about party size. But before I talk about it, we might as well just show you. Here's a random encounter. We don't know what we're going to see here. And one thing about random encounters is you don't have a whole lot of time to buff yourself. And as an alchemist, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to buff myself whatever chance I can get. Now, as we wait for the extremely long loading screen, oh, I guess that's not too terrible. It is a rock, and thankfully we've not angered it too greatly, so let's get a few buffs on ourselves. What should we do? Let's boost our dexterity by dropping our size down, and make ourselves invisible. Tank Baby, summon your special sword. And Tank Mommy, let's get some Bralanis in this battle. Bralattle? Yeah, don't try the puns, Toshio. Okay, and because we summoned some Bralanis, they're gonna start casting Lightning Bolt real soon here. So we will put some energy resistance on our party and then wade into battle. So, a talk about party size. Size matters. Now, one of the things that I noticed, oh my goodness, have you seen the kind of damage I'm dealing here? Just disgusting. 30 damage, 65 damage, 63 damage, all in one turn. Just disgusting. And why is that? Well, I am a level 11 Vivisectionist, and most of that damage is coming from sneak attack, but you see I also have a really good bonus wielding agile weapons because I have a very high dexterity that can go even higher with a few more buffs that I can give myself. So all in all, a very strong character concept, and at level 1 at this point in this, or at level 11 at this point in the story, that makes me quite strong. Now, the reason I'm able to level up so rapidly is because I have a party of 3, and I've set the experience gain to, if we go into, I believe, difficulty is where it says that? Yeah. So the difficulty tab of the options, you see I have set the enemies to be a bit easier, and that's just because I want to hurry up and catch up to where I was earlier in the story. Before I started a new game, so I just want those fights to go faster. But the amount of damage I'm dealing, that is just based upon my character and how awesome he is. Anyway, Kingdom Management, I highly recommend you set that to easy. It'll save yourself. I like Kingdom Management to be fun and rewarding and not a challenge in itself, because I want the challenge to come from the combat in the game. And there's this new tab here as well. You can make your kingdom not able to be destroyed by random events. So that's kind of helpful if you suck at kingdom management or if you feel like you suck. Anyway, let's talk about party size. So, only active companions receive experience. Check that sucker on right away, and you'll be able to gain much faster experience based upon having a smaller number of party members. And I've sort of demonstrated the way that this works out for me. I have a monster tactician, Tank Mommy over here, who is able to summon monsters and also has the animal domain, so that she has an animal companion. And of course, if you take animal domain, you want to take the feat Boon Companion at level 5 would be your first opportunity, and that will make your animal companion the equivalent level of a druid's animal companion, so up to your character level, which really gives you a lot of presence in combat. You've got your summoned creatures, in this case the Bralanis, and the animal companion to really flesh out your party numbers. And then I have a paladin who's very useful, as you see, a hospitaller, to get those good heals. Very useful at dealing damage and taking down particularly strong evil enemies, which is something you'll encounter quite often in this game. And you see we have her equipped with a reach weapon, and then my main damage dealer is Dada over here, as a level 11 Vivisectionist, extremely powerful class that I've talked about before. That's not the only way to rock a 3-stack party, and again, I did turn down the difficulty just a bit so that it's just a little bit more viable to have a 3-person party. And that's up to you. Really, if you don't take anything else away from this talk, it's that, let's go ahead and go back to the world map. It's that the difficulty settings in this game are really meant to be toyed with. If you want to play the game on higher difficulty settings, you're going to need a bigger party, especially starting out. But after you gain a few levels and you start getting those better abilities for your characters, consider turning off or turning on only active party members receive XP and running with a 3 or 4 person party. There's some tactical advantages. You have less people exposed to the enemy at a time. It's easier to manage people if you're only setting up, 3 people's actions per turn as opposed to 6. You'll be higher level, and there's this really neat feature I want to show you. So I'm going to go into my kingdom real quick and show you what I'm talking about. Now, ordinarily, the story characters that you get in this game are not the strongest characters you could have. But let's talk about taking advantage of the system a bit. If you do want to play this game on higher difficulty levels, you're going to want every advantage you can get. So I talked about how my character level is higher than it would be if I was running with a 6 party and sharing experience to everyone. But the obvious downside is the people who are not in my party are not going to be gaining that experience at all. They're going to stay at low level. There's 2 ways around this. One way, using gold, you can just hire a new you can hire a new mercenary. So just recreate whatever mercenary character you had that you're not using, and they'll be at your level. And again, when it comes to creating a mercenary, you want to purchase a mercenary immediately after you level up, because their experience starts at no more than the minimum that it takes to be your level. So if you're halfway to level 12, they're going to be at the start of level 11. So it's going to take them all of that thousands of experience to catch up to you the next time you level up. Does that make sense? But if you have under-leveled mercenaries in your party, you can purchase a new one for the cost of a huge amount of gold, but you really don't have a ton of things you need to spend gold on in this game, and you do make a fair amount of gold. So you should have the extra funds to purchase a new mercenary to keep them up to your level if you want to. Alternatively, for story characters specifically, under the projects tab of your kingdom, there's all of these training tabs. So if we look at Lindsay's training, you can train Lindsay up for the cost of BP and 7 days to the level of your character. That's extremely useful. So let's say I've been going through the game with 3 characters in my party, and it's starting to get too difficult for me. I can train up a strong character like Jaethal, or let's see, who else is decent. Tristan's okay, but for a certain reason unreliable. Ekundayo is extremely strong. So I could train up Ekundayo, I could train up Jaethal, who's also a very strong character, especially if you do her side quests. And those can be a bit tricky. I'll have to make a video on companion quests at some point, but that's a huge bag of worms that I don't want to get into now. You can train up these story characters and bring them into your party, and it really doesn't cost you much at all. So the basic idea of this talk is, if you can get just enough characters in your party to get by with the story, and you set that experience, you turn off that experience share to where only characters in your party are receiving experience, you will level up much faster. And personally, I love being high level. I would much rather have a party of 3 that's at the highest level And again, there's a catch to this one, so I'll go ahead and explain that now. The higher level you are, the less experience you get from killing monsters. Obviously, if they're lower level than you, they give you less XP. So I would be level 9 or level 10 with a party of 6, but now I'm a level 11, almost level 12. So you're only going to get, 2 or 3 levels ahead of a full party. But that can make a huge difference, as you're probably aware, because character levels, when you get into the higher levels, a few levels really goes a long way, especially when it comes to spells and abilities. And the monster tactician getting like a new summon monster every 2 levels, yeah, it's really, really strong to be a couple levels ahead of the average. Anyway, that's the basic talk. It really helps to do this early on so that you have high level characters, and then if you need to catch up, you can train your story characters in the capital via the projects tab as I showed you, or you can hire fresh mercenaries who will be at exactly the amount of experience it takes to be just at your level. So you have more options if you decide to play that way than you would if you share experience with everyone. And the main issue I had with my last playthrough of the game, the reason I stopped and started a new campaign, is because I was finding myself underleveled and I didn't really have the time to go around and harvest XP. So I just decided to start over and play this new concept of having Tank Daddy, Tank Baby, and Tank Mommy here as the main characters, and I definitely enjoy that. So this has been a talk about considering to go into options and go into difficulty and check that box that says only active companions receive experience, and try that out for yourself. Compact parties are the way to go in my book. I have a lot more fun with 3 or 4 people in my party than with a full stack of 6, where I'm spending all my time micromanaging people and we get flanked and the squishy characters in the rear are just getting shredded to pieces. I far prefer this way, but that's just me. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. More coming, and I've appreciated your feedback. I've been noticing people dropping comments. A few people, a number of people have been complaining about the game, and I totally understand that. Pathfinder Kingmaker, when it launched, was a buggy mess, and it still has some bugs. Like, you can see that there's some lighting issues with the map here. Like, you can clearly see this line here where just little things, and it definitely had quite a number of game-breaking bugs when it came out. So I totally understand you guys that have issue with the game or with the way it's been developed. But personally, I just want to love this game, so I give it a lot of room to just be horrible for a while. I've also been playing some Dungeons of Dreadmore, which is a roguelike, and if you're not familiar with that genre or with the game itself, it really is a lot of fun. And I have some ideas about how to bring some of you people that I've been hanging out with into the game with me, even though it's a single player. Anyway, more on that later. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.